So today we're going to create a character that we can actually kill. So I'm going to adjust my scene just a little bit here, just so we have some area to stand so we don't get killed. I'll save this off. We'll go into our enemies. Let's shrink down geometry. And I'm going to instance our floor blade. Now remember how it used to kill us? If we start it up right now, I guess actually we should put it in the right spot first. We'll move them over here. And we'll put them right up against here. Let's actually take this flag as well. Since we're here moving stuff around, let's go ahead. We'll put that up there. And we're pretty close to here. And then I'll start it up. He's going to start bouncing. And he doesn't kill us. Do you remember why? This is not my favorite way to set it up, but it's the way we currently have it set up. What we have to do is take our blade, go into the node. So let's actually go into his scene first. Make sure we have his root connected. Now remember, our player is a character body 2D. That means we have to work with the body entered. And my mistake, we actually have to be in main for this. And with the floor blade selected, then we can go ahead and click body entered. We want to make sure we have the player selected. And if we say pick, this is where we have the game over. We put it on the player. Now if we start this back up after we've connected, it should kill us. And it does. So the reason why we brought this up is because we're going to make a new mob today. It's going to be what we call inherited from the floor blade. So the way I'll have this work is I'm going to come into my scenes. I'm going to shrink this up. I'm going to take that floor blade. I'm going to duplicate it. The mob I'm going to make today is called a mouse. So I'll save that off. I'll open it up. Double click, he opens the scene. And I don't want to call it floor blade up here anymore. I want to call it mouse because this is actually going to be our mouse. With that selected, we'll come down to our animated sprite. Let's get rid of the two sprites we already have in there. Down to assets, PNG, enemies. Come all the way down. I'm going to grab mouse and mouse move, drag and drop them in. Let's play the animation. That's kind of fast. I want it to be a bit slower. 4? Yeah, well, we'll start there. Again, if we need to change it, we can. I'll go ahead and pause that. Now, when I'm looking at this ball here, I'm thinking, oh, that looks really big. So I might want to shrink this down a bit. And that's not collision. This is. So I'll shrink it down. And I don't want to move this off the center. I'll move the animated sprite itself. So maybe about here. Then move this up a bit. That covers pretty much all of it. We can make it a little bit smaller because I really don't care about the body. About there. So if we select the mouse right off the bat, we notice he does not have the body entered either. We're going to have to add that. But before we do that, let's check out his layers, his collision layers. He's currently on 3. He interacts with 1 and 7. And again, if we want to know what these are, 3 was the enemy, so he's an enemy. We could also take a look. He interacts with player and the enemy wall. And in order to make him killable, we could have went with layers. It made, let's say we went to 9. We could come in, edit, make number 9, say killable enemy or something. But dealing with layers, when you have to get to find something specifically on just one layer, when it could be on multiple layers, be kind of messy. That's why I want to work with inheritance. I'm going to save this off. We'll come back into the main. Let's add it as a child of enemies. We called it mouse. And again, it's not the plus sign, it's the chain. You'd think I would have learned that by now. There we go. We got our mouse. I'm going to go drag him off. I'm going to put him here. And I want him to be faster than the blade. So, I don't know, 2 times the speed. And then again, just to demonstrate, when we start, if we get hit by the mouse, we do not die. See how the blade killed us, not the mouse? Let's let the blade start bouncing back. The mouse doesn't kill us. The blade does. So, it's an easy fix because we've already looked at how to fix it. We come to node, body entered, make sure the player is selected, hit pick, game over, connect, mouse kills us now. Come on, boom, got me. All right, so now I want to be able to kill it. And I also want my fireballs when they hit other things to destroy itself as well. So we've got everything done for the mouse. Well, actually, we got a couple things we got to change with the mouse. But let's work on the fireball next. So I'll come into the fireball script. And remember, our mice, They're, well, actually all of our enemies are on an area 2D. Our items are in area 2D, but our floor is actually a body. So let's demonstrate how that works. So we'll come into the fireball scene with the main route selected. I'm going to do area entered. I'm going to put it on the fireball. I'm going to connect. And all I want to do is just say print area dot. Then we'll just print out the name of whatever it is that we hit. I'm going to run it. And as we shoot, our fireball is going to go through things. Is our fireball too high maybe? Let's double check our fireball. Go into our player. Let's go to 2D node. It might be a little too high. In which case, I'll bring him down to about around where his belly button is. Let's try this. So if I start shooting, still not saying. Come back into fireball, figure out what I did wrong, go into the script, and I bet it has to do with the fireball layers. Let's take a look. Yeah, so we've got it set up for the collision layer. The only thing it can detect is when it hits a player, and I don't want that. I'm just going to start off just to 3 the enemy, and itself, I don't need anything to interact with it. I only want it to interact with other things. So it doesn't actually have to be on a layer. I just have to tell it what layers I want it to interact with. So there we go. Now if I save it, we'll see that it hits the mouse and the saw blade. And I guess if I did move the flag back, we could see because that's an area. It hits that as well. I'll put it right here. Just for demonstrating. And of course, it's not going to hit because we have to go to the fireball and tell it to interact with that layer. There we go. So now we can see it interacts with that. Let's get it interacting with the floor as well. But because the floor, it's on 2, and it's easier if we just open this up. The only thing I don't want it to interact with is the wall and the player. If I shoot, because it's not an area 2D, we're not seeing the floor here. But I do want it to be destroyed when it hits a wall or the ground. So we'll just come back into the script. I will need to make sure I'm in fireball. I'll come back to the nodes, and that's a body. So body entered. We'll go ahead and add that. And all I'm going to do, actually, there's no point in copying because we got to change it anyway. I'm going to say body dot name. And now when I shoot, you should also see that layer it hits, the tile layer. Right there. So it now hits the ground, and it kept going. It hit the ground over there. So let's start having it destroy itself when it hits something. And we can just use Q free. Now, regardless of when it hits, it's going to destroy itself on the first thing it hits. There we go. Jump up, destroys itself on the ground as well. It destroys itself on the coin. Perfect. But I want it to be able to kill the mouse and not the blade. And here's where you get your first taste of inheritance. So I'm going to come into floor blade. Actually, technically, we just need the script. And remember when we did the fireball, we put a class name up here. I'm going to call this patrol. Well, let's call it patrol enemy because it is an enemy that patrols. Now, when we give something a name, we can inherit from it in another script, just like we did here. So this is the extends. Remember when we have this, that means anything that an area 2D can do, this script can do. And this script we're calling patrollable enemy. If I come into my mouse scene, I'm going to have the root selected here. I'm going to hit this little X up here. That'll get rid of the script on it. I can hit the plus to make a new one, which I'll call plus. I don't want it in my scenes. I want it in my scripts. And I don't want to inherit from area 2D. I want to inherit from, now I forget what I called it. I call it patrolling enemy. We're not sure. We can hit the little drop down, start typing here. And right away it finds patrol enemy. We get the autocomplete there. If I hit create, I am going to rename this. We don't have to get it to work, but I want to right away. And I'm going to call this killable enemy. I'll save it off. And notice we have no code here, but remember, because it extends patrollable enemy, all the code that we have here is actually inherited. We get it for free. So let's run it. The mouse should just work. So again, it's still bouncing. Nothing changes. It can still kill us. Well, you see when I shoot it, it goes through, but it still kills us. But now we can add extra functionality to the mouse that our blade doesn't get. So we can have it when the mouse dies. Maybe it adds a point to our score, or maybe it drops a coin or something. For now, let's just go ahead and add a point to our score. If we take a look at coin, when we get coin, we have the on body entered. I'm actually going to copy this just for demonstration. We're on the mouse. Let's open this up. Actually, we'll just do it this way. I'll paste it in. Instead of using on body entered, I'm just going to say kill me. And then I'll come up here. We got to add a value. So var, actually we could export it. We'll give it a value, which is going to be of type int. And I don't know, we're going to make it worth 1. Let's be generous. Let's make it worth 5 points when you kill a mouse. But let's come back into our fireball script now. And I don't need this part because we see that when it hits the floor, it destroys ourselves. We're going to put it under here. We can say if area is killable enemy. So if it's of that type, killable enemy, we can say area dot, we'll call the function kill me. And then for the queue free part, I want everything to be queued free when it's killed. So again, we can have it kill itself, or we can kill it here. What I'm talking about is we could say queue free here, or it would actually be area dot queue free, or inside of the mouse, inside of here where it says kill me, we could do queue free as well. I like the idea of the mouse killing itself after it's updated the score. But let's take a look at how this works. So I'll shoot the blade first. Didn't do anything. Hit the floor blade, it stopped. Let's hit the mouse this time. There we go. We hit the mouse and we got a score 5. There we go. The first way to kill stuff. Now we need some particles. Tomorrow's video is going to be not on this game because I need to upload something else for a different class, but we'll continue on this for Tuesday. Anyway, that's it. We now have something that's killable. You've learned a little bit about inheritance. And as always, if you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.